A press release, from the media department of the organizers of the competition. And of course, it's in relation to some sudden violence that happened, I think it was yesterday or 2 days ago at the Oyo Township Stadium. There was even somebody that was banned, from that stadium because of his purported activity and his involvement in all of the violence. Well, it's a story. The man, by the way, who was banned has asked to speak, and we have to give him a chance to speak, but he's not going to talk today. He's going to talk on Monday. Apart from that, to look at the Super Eagles of Nigeria, there's a lot to talk about from there. Today, they play Saudi Arabia, and of course, the draws for the AFCON released yesterday. We'll talk about the draws and their chances of qualifying for the next round and even doing it again. We'll also look at the group of death and, of course, Nigeria's potential threat to winning our fourth AFCON title. Talk European stories this afternoon. There's a lot happening in the Euro qualification series. Spain, Scotland, a game we saw yesterday. Argentina this morning were in action. And of course, Brazil were also in action this morning. We'll talk about the stories and so much more this afternoon. Welcome once again. My name is Marizona, reporting for GT. Excited as always. UT David is here. Blyden came as well. And together, we'll do justice to what's in the plate. 090-2223-1011 and 0817-624-8565. We'll give you the chance to be a part of the show. We're streaming live on the Planet Radio 101 FM page. Go there, drop your comment on the live feed, and we are going to take them in the course of the show. Welcome once again, ladies and gentlemen. Cup. So we start with the Akwa Ibom State Governors Cup. UT, take us through the results of the games today.
Well, the games we've seen so far, Nsratai defeated Itu by 4 goals to 1, while Roganam defeated Ikono by 1 goal to nothing. Earlier today, we also saw Ibono defeating Oron by 2 goals to 1, while Ibiano Ibom defeated Urwan by 1 goal to nothing.
Yeah, that's a statement win.
Yeah, Urwan have been so far decent, but it looks like just earlier today they couldn't just prove once again while they have been so strong. Obudokara defeated Ukanafon by 2 goals to nothing. Those are the games we've seen so far today.
All right, that's the story. Happening in the different senatorial districts and the chances of your local government area qualifying for the Super 12 competition, which would be the playoff competition for the trophy, as a matter of fact. Well, let's talk about the Nigerian Premier Football League. Rivers United got the better of Remo Stars yesterday, 2-0. Alex Yongo-Yoa scored the penalty in the 15th minute, and Andy Okwe, former Remo Stars man, scored the other goal for Rivers United as they went on to record their first victory of the season after 2 games. Remember, the loss to Niger Tornadoes by 1-0 in match day 2, right? And of course, that's the story. Well, I'm looking forward to seeing the action there. Well, Blyden, Rivers United, Remo Stars, it was supposed to be a clash of titans, but it ended up being so one-sided that Remo Stars could not even score a goal.
Well, it's typical of the Nigerian Premier League in recent times, especially the early days. We're seeing home sides showing dominance and class against their opponent, irrespective of who the opponent was. But on the other hand, quite surprising for me, because I expected Remo Stars to show some level of resilience in this one, especially after their early wins in the league. And considering last season how good they were and the numbers that counted on for them, I think they finished second last season, and that's a conversation, especially against the Rivers United side. We know how decent they are, but at the end of it, the former champions show class and why they're the former champions and why they're doing so well at the CAF competitions in recent times, and that's the story. 2 massive 0 against Remo Stars, and it builds up the conversation even further moving forward.
Remo Stars defeated Enugu Rangers in match day 2, and there was this talk about equality and the fact that maybe they look decent enough to do what they've been doing for the past 2 seasons, but losing to Rivers United, well, we call it a flash in the pan, or this is the quality of Remo Stars.
Remo Stars have usually shown their quality over time, particularly since last season. We saw that trying to compete favorably with other teams for the league, but then you can't take the shy away from Rivers United. I think they were quite decent yesterday, and it once again showed why they are one-time champions of the MPL. It once again shows why they are also, one of the only Nigerian representative for the continental stage. I think Rivers United just yesterday were the better side. They were playing at home, so they had that confidence going forward that they can actually get their first 3 points of the season, and that was just a story for them yesterday.
All right, that's the story. Congrats to Rivers United. Looking at the table and how things are shaping up right now after yesterday's game. Rivers United moving up to 5th position with 3 points from 2 games. Remo Stars dropped to 16th position. Of course, same 3 points as a matter of fact, but just the goal difference separating number 5 and number 16. As a matter of fact, well, to tell you that the 3rd position all the way to the 17th position, all are tied on 3 points, but then it's a case of goal difference separating all of the sides.
Yes, we believe it. Look who we are.
Arabia, a highly anticipated top clash set to unfold today at the Stadio Municipal de Portimao in Saudi Arabia and Nigeria gear up for a showdown. Well, their recent trajectories on the field have been drastically different, with Saudi Arabia seeking to reverse a troubling 7-game losing streak, while Nigeria aims to extend its winning run to 4 matches. Nigeria enters a contest on a resounding high after defeating Sao Tome and Principe 6-0 in Uyo just last month. Victor Osimhen was the star of that show, remember that? And of course, it's been a story. This emphatic win marks Nigeria's 3rd consecutive triumph, amassing a combined score of 10-2 in their last 3 outings since their loss to Guinea-Bissau back in March. Nigeria now gearing up for the challenge presented by Saudi Arabia, the team that showed remarkable resilience in their only previous encounter 13 years ago, securing a goalless stalemate. And that's the story. Well, for Saudi Arabia, they find itself in a rut. They've lost 6 consecutive games, and the latest being the loss to South Korea at the St. James's Park in the previous international window before this one. Well, it's a story. The recent form has been quite dismal. But UT, despite all of this record, 6 successive losses for the Saudis. Well, you cannot bet against the fact that they have quality. And top of the pile is the fact that they have Roberto Mancini as a coach, the man who won the most recent Euro 2020, right, with the Italian national team.
Well, I think Saudi Arabia, you could say the results haven't really been so good for them. But then it's a new dawn under a new manager, a manager who's won it over time, who's won for lots of laurels over time, and it looks like they may just like we may just likely see a more redeemed, Saudi Arabian team. We've talked about the quality of Roberto Mancini, and I think he will also translate it to the players under his tutelage as well. So I think this particular friendly match is also, of course, a very good one for the Super Eagles of Nigeria to try and prepare for what is at stake for them, which is the FIFA qualifiers and, of course, the African proper by January. So I'm expecting it to be a tough game, 5 p.m., not too long from now. And, of course, I'm also expecting to see, players who haven't really played with the Super Eagles to be a lot more tested. We talked about the man Jordan in the Nest of Champions the other day. I think he couldn't feature. I also want to see him starting this game or perhaps coming from the bench. So we have to...
Blyden, let's talk Nigeria. The national team Well, it's been the last 3 games for the boys have been quite palatable, a delightful story, winning games, scoring a lot of goals. But in all of these games, they've not played Saudi Arabia. And of course, the Arabians pose a different threat entirely. Well, what should be the approach for this game from a Pesero perspective?
Well, based on the numbers, you already see the numbers. Saudi Arabians are not winning games. Last 5 games, last 6 games, they've not won any. It shows how terrible
successive losses.
And you look at the last 5 games for Nigeria, they've won 3 out of 2. And it's that conversation, Southam and Principe being the double-header for them. But on the other hand, you begin to also look at far back in 2010 when these two sides met, especially the friendly ended in a draw. But it's a different story now, especially with the firepower of a Nigerian national team. I think the onions is on the Nigerian side because you expect the likes of Victor Osimhen to be on the score sheet. You expect some of decent football from the likes of Kelechi Iheanacho, Wilfred Ndidi, who seem to be in form at the moment for Leicester City. Many would say it's a championship, but it's typical of football. Basically moving forward, I expect Nigeria to be pursuing this game and see how they can win it at the end of it, but also expecting good resilience from Saudi Arabia. They're spending lots of money in the league, and they've brought in a fantastic manager, Mancini, and we know what he can do with that side moving forward. But on the overall, a good win would be the best result for Nigeria, and the worst of it I would expect from Nigeria would be a draw. Losing is a no-no for me.
Well, contrasting results for Nigeria and Saudi Arabia, but of course, let's talk about the manager, Roberto Mancini. Now, what difference will he make as the coach of this side in the bid to help this team, record a turnaround in their recent drop in form, UT?
I think he has quality, basically. So he has to also, transcend that same quality to the team. We've seen him coach different club sides, different national teams, the Italian national team winning the Euros. With Manchester City far back, we're talking winning the Premier League titles. And that shows you the quality of Roberto Mancini. I think it's just bringing some level of fresh breath to the team, trying to change the tactics from what we saw from the former manager that took them to the FIFA World Cup. And that's just that would just be the story for them against the Super Eagles of Nigeria. I'm not expecting an immediate result for the Saudi Arabians because this would also be his first game in charge since taking charge of the team. So he will also have to test run his tactics, whether it goes wrong or whether it goes right. But I feel Roberto Mancini, with the quality he's got, he will actually, revive this side to be a much better side than we saw in the last 6 games.
All right, so well, Blighter, let's talk about the personnel department of the national team. First of all, the position. Well, we have Francis Uzoho, who's there. There's Maduka returning to the national team. And, of course, last we checked, we heard that this man, what's his name now? Debayo Dele is set to arrive in camp, but there are chances that he might not play the game later today because he hasn't trained with the side since then. But let's look at the 2 goalkeepers who might start. Francis Uzoho and Maduka Okoye. Well, we're still aiming at stability, something we haven't gotten so far at the national team level. So, Pesero, who do you start?
Well, I think he'll stick with Uzoho. He's been the man to man the post. On the other hand, I also like to see Adele also have opportunity. A few qualifying games I saw him perform quite well. So the Super Eagles of Nigeria. So the picture for me would be what gets to happen in the friendly. It's a friendly, basically. I'm not necessarily always going to go with your best goalkeeper. After all, sometimes you can have your best goalkeeper be on the bench and not really know until you give them the opportunity to play. But I also like to see, especially not in this game, but the next game against Mozambique, I love to see Maduka Okoye be on that post, have his own chance to perform and show class if possible, and the competition takes up in terms of a goalkeeping department. But beyond that, that's it for me. Uzoho is the best fit. He's been in and around that scene for a while now. Such a decent goalkeeper at times, and at times not too decent, but it's basically what it is, Mari.
Oh, UT, after a 2-year hiatus with the national team, Okoye deserves some running in this friendly game, right?
Yeah, he deserves some running, basically. Talked about other players who also deserve some running. And I think he should also, be given a game time, if not in the first half, particularly in the second half, because it's a friendly game, so you can actually totally overhaul the whole team and then bring in new faces as well. So he should also, be given a game time. So let's see how far he has actually improved from when he last represented the Super Eagles and now that he's been called up to the national team as well.
Okay, so while we agree Uzoho starts and goal, Okoye might just get it. Let's look at the back line. Well, against Ottoman Principe, it was Calvin Bassey, right? Yeah. Bruno Nyemachi, right? It was Jamilu Collins there, right? And of course, who else they started the game? I think it was Ola Aina.
Yeah, Ola Aina started.
Right. So,
back.
We're sticking to that back line now. We bring in Bright Osai Samuel, who's returned to the side. Jordan as well is at the side. He's yet to be capped for the national team. So, And there's also Jamilu Collins returns from the injury. No, he's out now. So it's Chido's Yawazim who has now replaced him. So we stick with the ultimate backline blinding or bring some changes at that backline.
Well, there's bound to be changes. We're not expecting Olaiana to be part of that mix today, and that's a conversation. Injury withdrawal, but most likely I'm expecting Samuel Sai to also be part of it, starting this one. Also Kenneth Murray in that team, so you never can tell what
senior man Kenneth.
Yeah, is there Kong in that team? I do not think so.
No.
Yeah, so Kong is not part of it, so that's it. I think we might see Omeru also have his chance, but probably Jai gets to start and play with Calvin Bassey here, and on the left fullback, that's where the concern is for me. Who gets to turn up?
Bruno Yemachi was quite brilliant, exceptional in his debut for the national team against Ottoman Principe. We saw him, and then there's no Jamilu Collins. There's no Zedu Senusi, rather.
There is Jamilu Collins.
There's no Jamilu Collins too. He was replaced, actually.
So he gets the bet automatically then?
Yeah, definitely. Right, so let's look at the midfield. UT, Joe Aribo, Wilfred Didi, Franco Nyeka, Rafael Onyedika, Alex Iwobi, the rapper, returns to the side. And of course,
why are you calling him the rapper?
Bloody, you haven't seen it? Oh, I am going to play it for you.
Please do.
Alex Iwobi is dropping a song very soon.
Very soon.
And he's featuring his former Everton teammate, Amadou Onana, in that song.
Ah.
Wait for it.
Fantastic.
Wait for it. Right, so UT, Alex Iwobi, the rapper. Fisayo Dele Bashiro.
I like to go with Fisayo. Fisayo playing
Why?
with is a new face.
Have you seen him play?
I've seen him play at club level. I think one game. He's been quite convincing.
Seen him play one game. You want him to start the national team?
Yeah, but I saw the glimpse of brilliance, and that's why he's been drafted in. I think if he wasn't better at the start of the season, he wouldn't have been drafted in. So I want to see him play basically as a new face in that particular midfield. And I also want to see Wilfred Didi, a quite experienced lad as well as Joe Aribo, starting the games for me. 3 midfield wouldn't be that bad for Coach Jose Pizarro later today.
For me, from a midfield part of it, I'd like to see Alex Iwobi return to that midfield. I want to see him dangle to make sense from that angle. Wilfred Didi pairing in that midfield. But I can miss Kelechi Iheanacho for anything in it. That's it. I want to draft him at the head of it. Or probably maybe the Brentford man, Franco Onyeka being part of it too. So that's some complexity for me. I don't know how to handle it. I have to drop one person, either it will be a Kelechi Iheanacho. I'll stick with the 3. It will be Franco Onyeka and Didi in the midfield.
There's been a lot of talk about Victor Osimhen and Victor Boniface starting in the same 11 for the national team, and we have to talk about it blinded because, well, on paper it looks like something that could turn out to be a deadly duo. A very prolific duo, as a matter of fact. Victor Boniface is still scoring, not slowing down, at Bayer Leverkusen. Victor Osimhen, at least, is still scoring goals in the midst of the crisis at Napoli right now, and the fact that Rudy Garcia is under fire, but the man always comes to the forward side. Now, talk to us about the potentiality of starting Victor Osimhen and Victor Boniface, and tactically speaking, how does that work?
Why are you talking about potentiality? That's the starting lineup. You have to start the 2 of them. Typical frontliners. We're talking about Victor Osimhen, quite solid, quite expressive, with lots of physicality. And you're talking about Victor Boniface of Bayer Leverkusen also, brings lots of physicality and good movement.
So what are the roles like?
Definitely. Sometimes it could be quite confusing when you're having 2-point attackers who are similar moving forward, except you have a decent number 8 who's sitting right there. But there can be lots of distraction also coming in from these big presence moving forward on the defenders. But here's the difference with Boniface. Boniface can glide through. He can move with the ball. He can drop in, and he still brings that big presence moving forward. So it makes it a complete setup up front. He can help the midfield, and that's the beauty of it. I don't need 2 people rushing for the same ball up front in terms of Victor Osimhen and Victor Boniface. So that's why the play is so good compared to having maybe the likes of Taiwo Wunayi, who's not part of this game, and Victor Osimhen up front. So it gets even beautiful. And that's why in my front line now, I'll drop Kelechi Iheanacho up there. I'll keep Ademola Lookman on the bench for a while. He comes in and gets to do the damage. And also the Villarreal man comes in later as a winger. Samuel Chukwueze. Former Villarreal, now AC Milan. Forgive me, Chukwueze. And gets to do the damage moving forward.
All right, so that's the story. So let's get your own thoughts on how you want the 11 to look like. 090-2223-1011 and 0817-624-8565. Who would you want to see start today's game, and what are your expectations from the side? Well, UT, as we wrap up and talk about something else, what would be the ideal result? Because everybody's saying perfect tactics, but if he loses, it's a problem.
I think it's about tactics, basically. Just like we've talked about two strikers. I'm actually looking at how far, two strikers can actually fit in the team, because it will also limit the game chances from the wingers. You can't start two strikers up front and you expect the likes of Moses Simon and Samuel Chukwueze to still be in the mix at the same time. So I'm basically also looking at that particular angle to the story as well. And Coach Jose Peseiro have to test run the system that will be quite workable for him moving into the AFCON. So in as much as we're still talking about two strikers, what comes in his mind would be about the formation, how he takes to approach this game, and that will be quite concerning. That's why most of the time we're still talking about tactics and also perfecting those tactics ahead of what is to come, and that's the AFCON proper. So basically for me it's about perfection and not necessarily about the results.
Blyden?
Yeah, result is so important for me.
Oh, my goodness.
Because the pressure begins to
yeah, we're talking confidence.
Now. Because now the draws are out.
Yeah.
Everyone is looking towards the Nations Cup. And every game is pointed towards the Nations Cup. Are they good enough? Are they not good enough? Is the coach doing fine or not? So more pressure. And if you begin to get this result right now, it builds the confidence. It makes your opponent to begin to be scared of you. And that's the conversation. So for me, the result is so important in this particular game now. And for Jose Peseiro, when you look at Saudi Arabia's record, they've not won a game in the last 6. And look at the Super Eagles. They scored, I can count the number of goals.
10 goals in the last 3 games.
Especially after playing Sao Tome and Principe.
Yeah.
Mari, last 2 games, Sao Tome and Principe, they scored so many games. Okay, it wasn't part of it anyway. The first game had crossover. I'm counting double here. But basically what it is, Mari, because you look at the numbers now, it's stacked in favor of the Super Eagles.
Absolutely.
And I think the pressure also mounts for them to perform. If they perform very well, tips up for them.
All right, to a football fan, let's see if you can perform on the call right now. Good afternoon. Welcome to the show. Welcome, if you're.
From my own point of view, both tactics and results is very important. Tactics in the way that we should know how Nigeria is playing as a team. And result, because the good result will build their confidence going into the AFCON. The idea of choosing Saudi Arabia over other top countries is not a bad idea. Because the AFCON draws are out. If you choose a country like Brazil or Argentina, they're going to stop you 4-0. Your opponent might like to the tactics from there. So choosing Saudi Arabia is not a bad idea. Nigeria should go in there, play as a team, we ensure that their confidence can be better. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for talking to us. Hello, good afternoon, welcome.
Before I am comparison, please, I want to say congratulations to Robert Sanchez for winning the PL save of the month. Thank you for having me.
Thank you very much. A Chelsea fan in the making, right? Hello. Welcome, go ahead. Oh my goodness, do what you call us back. I'm so sorry. Hello, good afternoon. Yeah.
Good afternoon.
Welcome.
Yeah, Vladimir Brigadier talking you today. It's a very huge game this evening because I believe those two guys, they will not be able to maybe allow each other to win. But I want to believe that there must be a winner this evening. Talking about Saudi Arabia and Super Eagles. Let them use this game as a stepping stone and maybe glance through it and make sure that on Monday as well, with Mozambique, double it as win and maybe set themselves up now on 2024 because nobody will see that coming. If they lose, it's embarrassing. And let them use this as well to prepare themselves very well in their respective when the international break is over. Thank you very much, Harry.
Thank you so much, the Sports Messiah, for talking to us this afternoon. We'll look at the AFCON draws as well. Blyden gave us a cue into that. We're going to talk about it, but let's listen to Victor. Hello, Victor.
Hello, good afternoon,
Welcome.
Yeah, good afternoon, Clarence. I just see that happy weekend and happy it's today Friday.
Go ahead, Victor.
Today is a very special day. I really feel what the people bring to the city. Always a good time. Because anytime people come to the studio, there must be a moment for us to take back home and help to encourage. Let me talk about the Super Eagles match today against Saudi Arabia. Because of Nigeria, I'm really grateful for the performance of the Super Eagles. Some of their few games that they played, even they are qualified, the fine performance and the player that they invited. But people are not still think that it is a difference about the one we used to know. The time will tell. So for today's game, I wish to find for the nation God grow. My son, it's very difficult to Nigeria and playing the whole country. So that's why Nigeria must prepare well for the outcome. That's my take. Thank you, Father.
Thank you so much for talking to us. 0902223 1011 and 0817 624 856. We're taking calls in. We're talking Nigeria. Hello, good afternoon.
Hello, Arizona.
Yes.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, UT. Good afternoon, brother. This is Sudo calling from you.
Welcome. Go ahead.
Yeah, I want to talk about the man that is buying goes out today. See that that's a wonderful combination. I don't think there'll be anything like confusion. They just need team spirit and team connection. That's the only thing there. So two of them being in the first service is more dangerous to the other side, to the opponent. So when the people now saw the two of them in the front, say that these two people are here, they should start to be afraid now because they know what the two of them can do. So I think it's a very good combination for the two of them. So
thank you very much. Hello, good afternoon. Welcome to the show.
I want to say a very big congratulations to the local government and the ongoing Governor's Cup. You know, unlike in Bahrain, Iran is doing very, very well.
Ifyo, nice one. Go ahead. Nice one.
They are playing very, very well, and you know, we the fans of Iran local government. You have reason to say that the referees are doing very well. Unlike the fans of other local government that complain about referees. The thing is, what goes around comes around. When we complain about Relocate here on the radio, a lot of people say that Chelsea fans, we don't have evidence. And I'm happy that other people also don't have evidence. As for Nigeria today, the coach has only one option, that is to win Saudi Arabia. Thank you for having me.
Thank you very much, Ifyo, for talking to us. Hello, good afternoon. I have you. Talk to me.
Yeah, my dinner, this is Godwin from Friday.
Welcome, Godwin.
Yeah, my dinner, I want to say that though I am happy with how we run our team, but I'm disappointed with today's match. I wanted to play an unbeaten record. But all the same, I know that we will be in the final by God's grace.
All right.
But my dinner, I want to say that there is I don't know. I am so heartbroken with the match that regarding at 32. Well, I wish we were, but I want to say that if we would have been to be at Chelsea, my dinner, I can state anything that man would have still been playing football. But all the same, we wish him well.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for having me.
Life actually happens. Hello, good afternoon. Welcome to the show. Hello, good afternoon. Welcome to the show. Let's take this call from here. Good afternoon. Welcome to the show.
Yeah, Arizona. Good afternoon.
Sounds like Tenero.
My name is Ubo. I'm calling in from you.
Welcome, UB.
Yeah, a first time caller.
Welcome.
Yeah, Arizona, I wanted to talk about the Governor's Cup, but I wanted to ask a question at first. I don't know. I'm from Tribum though, but I've not been around since the Governor's Cup kick-started, and I wouldn't know whether if a first time I can be included. That's if you've not been a part of the football team for a while and you wish to, maybe you can compete. I wouldn't know. That's what I called to find out.
I'm not sure now. It's like saying mid-season, like after match day 3, they sign another player to come play for the side. I don't think that's possible, right? Because the list of players have already been sent to the FA, and they've been ratified and approved and all of that. Bloody, you want to say something?
I think it's basically he's not being around.
Yeah.
But I think it's good for him now, maybe subsequently in case of other opportunities in games.
Yeah.
Meet your FA group, the people
the local government area,
within that group, and let them know. You can even train with them.
Yeah.
Let them know that you're a good footballer, you
Absolutely.
could play, and subsequently you could be part of it.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Blyden. top class clarity there. Let's look at the African groupings. The draws were held yesterday, guys. By the way, Nigeria, Saudi Arabia comes up. What time, UT?
5 p.m.
5 p.m. Nigerian time. That's the story. Well, let's look at the African. The draw ceremony took place in Cote d'Ivoire yesterday. The tournament is scheduled to be held from January 13 to February 11, 2024. And like I said, Blyden, we're going there, right? Where'd you go? All right. So the draws were Nigeria, first of all, seated in Group A, alongside Ivory Coast, Equatorial Guinea, and Guinea-Bissau for the draw for the African tournament. Well, UT, we're all praying, oh, Father, Lord, don't let the North Africans catch us. And thankfully, they did not. What did you make of the draws?
I think it's still a tough draw, particularly for Nigeria. However, we see it, it's still a tough draw because you still have countries who can actually spring surprises and do quite well. First of it would be Cote d'Ivoire, storming another headache for Nigeria. They are the host nation, and basically what we've always seen, host countries, prepare quite better, and of course also prepare quite well for the tournament they are hosting. So Cote d'Ivoire should also be pose a threat to Nigeria. I'm also looking at Guinea-Bissau because during the African qualifiers we played them earlier this year. I think they got the better of us in the first leg, while Nigeria won the second leg. So it certainly shows you that Guinea-Bissau can actually pose another threat for Nigeria. As a matter of fact, in that group, I think the only lower graded team, if I would actually use that word, in that group is Equatorial Guinea. So if we talk about Cote d'Ivoire, Guinea-Bissau and Nigeria, all of them stands a better chance. But realistically, Nigeria have a quality to progress to the other stage. But then we should underrate other teams as well.
Well, UT is saying underrate these teams, but don't underrate them.
Yeah.
That's what he's trying to say.
Quite diplomatic.
Yeah, but I know deep down he's saying we can flog all of them.
Nigeria should beat all of them. That's it. Let me say in clear.
It's not as simple as you think. It's not as simple as we think.
I look at Ivory Coast, and in recent times, Ivory Coast has not been such a decent side. The only thing I'm giving Ivory Coast some notch in this thing has been yesteryears over history. They've also been a decent side. And their hosts,
like Nigeria, Ivory Coast is blessed with quality.
They have some good players, not like Nigeria.
I know, but they're blessed with quality players playing in Europe.
Okay.
Not just quality players alone. They've got the history, Mari.
Yeah.
They've got the history.
Absolutely.
Now, I look at this group, I expect Nigeria and Ivory Coast to qualify. Even in the ranking, Nigeria is ahead of Ivory Coast.
Yeah.
They were in Port A because they were host.
Ivory Coast should not even be in Port A.
So, that's it. Naturally, Ivory Coast are in Port B, just like lots of other countries like Ghana. But you look at this now, Equatorial Guinea, I could understand why UT say Equatorial Guinea are not strong enough. It's been a while Nigeria played against Equatorial Guinea, so you can't remember. But Equatorial Guinea are actually in Port 3. Why are you laughing, Mario? They're actually in Port 3 and Guinea-Bissau in Port 4. And that's the conversation. I've seen Guinea-Bissau.
Nigeria lost to Guinea-Bissau by a goal to
March
last year, Blyden.
I know, Mario.
Let's not
even
lose sight of that fact.
We lost to Central African Republic. Nigeria have a knack to losing to smaller teams, one way or the other. But not at the Nations Cup.
Guinea-Bissau is a smaller team.
Nations
I understand.
Come on, Guinea-Bissau is a small team.
But we can totally say Nigeria will beat all the entire team in the group. It's not possible that way. This is the African tournament.
Well, guys, when we say small team, what do we mean by small team? Because I'm saying this because at the start of as of November last year, you're not going to believe that Morocco will make all the way to the semi-finals of the World Cup. Yeah. You cannot think that. Nobody saw that coming.
Yeah. We know, Mario.
Yeah.
But you can naturally just say Morocco is not good. At a World Cup stage, I can understand.
No, but you're talking about them comparatively
you never
to
get
the
them a chance during the World Cup.
You're comparing Morocco. Let me learn, guys. You're comparing Morocco to the teams that participated at that World Cup. You're not going to say Morocco would make it to the quarterfinals. They went to the semi-finals. So when we say small teams, what do we mean by small teams?
Yeah, you look at the quality they've got. You look at that history, because no matter how you want to look at it in football, history plays a part. Once in a while, you always have teams that create upsets. Like you talk about Morocco, you talk about Greece many years ago in the Euros, getting to the final. So there's always going to be that upset. And it's always going to be one team in maybe a decade or 20 years, even it might even be 100 years before you get to see that happen. But I'm not disrespecting Guinea-Bissau. I'm not disrespecting some of these countries, Equatorial Guinea.
Right.
But here's the conversation. If there's an upset from these teams, then Nigeria has been embarrassed. Because everyone believes Nigeria should do well in this competition.
I don't want to be a prophet of doom.
See,
I don't want to be a prophet of doom. I don't want to be the one that will not let them do it again.
Absolutely.
Right. So what if Nigeria doesn't qualify from this group?
It won't be shocking for me. That's the truth. It won't be shocking for me. Good and fine. We have the quality. We have the legs that can actually, do the damage. But then Do we have the coach that can do it? Well, some would argue, basically, looking at the recent results for Coach Jose Peseiro, he's actually done quite well. But against which teams? How many good teams have we, really boast of, beating in tough tournaments? This is the African tournament. We could only underrate, Ivory Coast. We could underrate Guinea-Bissau. But this is the African tournament. No team is going there to sit down and then watch you beat them. They would actually, of course, give you a good run for it. So if you are winning these teams, you will basically, do quite well and perform quite well on the pitch of play and beat them. I'm not totally underrating the other teams. Nigeria stands equal chance with Ivory Coast, Guinea-Bissau, and Equatorial Guinea to, qualify. If they do not do well, I won't be surprised if they're out of the group stages.
Mari, let me come this way now, because the way it sounds as if our teams have to work so hard to beat other teams. I think everybody gets to work hard. No one goes into the Nations Cup to say, I'll underrate this team. You don't get to do that. That's why teams qualify for the Nations Cup. But take it from me, Mari, Nigeria will qualify. As long as it's a group stage, it's not a knockout stage.
Right.
If it's a knockout stage, I expect maybe it could be a shocker, because it's a one-legged game.
We're shocked in the last knockout stage.
But here's the thing. It's a group stage. You falter in one game, you build up in the next. And that's the way I said. If Nigeria doesn't top this group, it would be disappointing. But Ivory Coast are the closest challenge to Nigeria in that group.
Let's look at the other groups. Group B has Egypt, Ghana, Cape Verde, and Mozambique. Group C has Senegal, Cameroon, Guinea, and Gambia. Group D has Algeria, Burkina Faso, Mauritania, and Angola. Group E has Tunisia, Mali, South Africa, and Namibia. Group F has Morocco, DR Congo, Zambia, and Tanzania. Well, guys, getting into it, your group of death. I'll start with you, UT.
I look at Group C. It looks like that's the toughest group for me. Senegal, Cameroon, Gambia, and Guinea. I think Senegal, Cameroon, and Gambia are, one of the best teams in that group. Well, I know
You're overlooking Guinea.
I know Guinea has Girassi. Basically, but if you look at the entire squad, quality-wise, Naby Keita, when last did we see Naby Keita in active
he's playing in Germany. Apart from that, Amadou Diawara, former Roma man, top player, top central midfielder.
I know. So, but I'm looking at the Group C being one of the toughest group. Senegal, qualities team. Cameroon, recent times have won it, and of course the Gambia and Guinea as well.
Well, for me, Mario, when you look at Group E, you understand it spells doom and death. For anybody, you're not sure you're going to qualify.
Group E. That's Tunisia, Mali, South Africa, Namibia.
These teams, especially the top three
tricky
are strong teams, I must say. Mali, perennial underachievers, but they always qualify to the quarterfinals and sometimes semifinals. Tunisia last season knocked Nigeria out of the Champions League, out of the AFCON games. And look how they perform. In the ranking now, they're in the top 5, Tunisia, a decent side. And South Africa, we know how South Africa are. They're little here, little there. You can't just beat South Africa. You think that way, it's to your own peril. A decent side, they've had decent league. The problem with South Africa is they don't have real foreign players. So they stick with the home-based players, and they play quite well the home-based way. And the way they play, like the Bafana, Bafana, right?
Yeah.
Not Bafana.
They are the Bafana.
Yeah, they are the Bafana. But I think I prefer the Bafana these days.
That's the story. They've been playing
well. The better side in the national team.
At the World Cup. All right, so let's head back to the phone lines and get your thoughts on Nigeria's qualifying for the next round of the competition. Everybody here is saying Nigeria has an easy draw. Ivory Coast will flog them. Equatorial Guinea, they don't reach. And Guinea-Bissau will finish them and all of that. But do you think that's the case? And we're talking about the fact that the new mantra is let's do it again. With the groupings, do you think Nigeria can do it again? Let's get your thoughts. We're also on Facebook, by the way, the Planet's Radio 101 FM sports page, not a sports page, the live feed. Drop your comments there. I'm tracking them right now. I will take them in the course of the show or the phone lines. First of all, good afternoon.
Hello, Mark. Good afternoon. This is Sakufre.
Yeah, welcome, Sakufre.
Yeah. Greetings to my brother there. Yeah. I want to say, I carefully listen to you guys. There is no smaller team again. There is no smaller. I say it in the morning. There is no smaller, because they have foreign players. We also have. We have foreign players. They play in a big club. We also play. So we should not underrate all these smaller team. There's no smaller team anymore. So people should not say it again, because these Super Eagles players, some of them have pride. So then we said some of the teams are smaller teams. They may, have it on their head and say, let us go and win. And at the end of the day, they lose. So please, there's no smaller team anymore. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Sakufre. talking to us this particular afternoon. Tallest on the line. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Yeah.
Actually, good afternoon. You think good afternoon. Yes, Barry. Super Eagle against Adelaide tonight. Barry, let me just give my 11. Those are who on the post. Kelvin Bassi, Chidoza Awazim at the center of the defense. Then the flank, Bras Otayi Samuel and Bruno Oyemachi. Then the midfield. I'd like to play two defensive midfielder. That is Rafa Onyedika and Wilfred Didi. Then the person that will be doing the creative job for me will be Alex Iwobi. Then the wing, I'll have Terry Murphy, Moses Simon. Then the two strikers that I will have Victor Simen and Boniface. Mary, the group stage Nigeria in now. Mary, see that group. Nigeria is going to top that group no matter what. You understand? So there's nothing these people can do. Ivory Coast and other things. You know, it's a normal thing. Whenever the group is being done, people will be saying, don't underrate this one. In everybody's mind, you know what's going to happen. Even you marry. So,
I don't know. Don't hang anything on me. I don't know. Thank you very much. Tallest on the line.
But the going on so far, I'm really enjoying the tournament, even though I'm not from here. I'm really enjoying the tournament.
Nice. Thank you so much. That's a beautiful thing because, of course, football brings everybody together. Good afternoon. Welcome to the show.
Hello, good afternoon, my son and everyone in the studio.
Right.
This is Savior calling you from.
Savior Achibon.
Yes.
How far?
I want to say that I'm so happy with my local government for winning it today. They have done very well in the ongoing government competition. As for the Super Eagles today, wishing them the very best. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much, Savior Achibon, for talking to us. Well, UT, I think you should take us to Facebook, but we have just one comment there, so I'll just take it, just to save time and energy. Sean Sam says, good afternoon, sports crew. I go with the words of legend Didier Drogba. Cote d'Ivoire should be wary of Nigeria, as we've been excellent. We have excellent potentials to top the group and even going allowed to win the AFCON. Wishing them all the best in the coming hours against Saudi Money. I'm John of Chelsea. Bakayoko Patuski comes in right now and says, good afternoon, Planet Sports Crew. I want to wish Nigeria the best of luck. Saudi Arabia today. The game will be a draw. Nigeria group is the easy group for Nigeria to qualify for the AFCON. Thank you so much. Good afternoon. My uncle. All right. What you call is back. An interesting conversation. Tonali of Newcastle and Italy, as well as Nicolo Zaniolo of Aston Villa, have all been recalled. They've left the Italian national team after they are said to be involved in an investigation by prosecutors around betting. Italy taken Malta and England, and of course the boys have been asked to leave the camp, and they've been replacement ready for the side. And of course that's the story. Well, it's now becoming a thing, Blyden. Yeah. The past 6 months, so many players have been caught in the web of betting and all of that, breaching betting rules, and it's not making any sense. It wasn't this frequent before. Look at this man, Ivan Toney, he was banned. We're talking Lucas Paqueta, although the issue has been thrown swept under the carpet since then. We're talking to players right now. So what's the players and betting?
Well, Mari, it's all about the popularity of betting these days, and it's quite concerning. And it all started, I think, at the beginning of the Premier League, when the Premier League came out and said, we don't want betting firms to sponsor clubs again, and to be on the front line of the shirts, because it might be wrong motivation for the younger ones. I think it's not that more people are joining betting alone. It's because now there's more radar on people, footballers involved in betting now than before. Lots of players were betting and got away with it, and now it's more concerning, but it's not proper. Every game, every profession do have that ethics. And in the profession of football, you're not supposed to engage in betting one way or the other because it's concerning. You're playing these games, how then do you bet it? You're around friends who understand, and some people might know that you part of this game, and they put lots of money, and they might get to pay back one way or the other. So it's not good for the system, it's not good for football, because otherwise football ends up becoming staged if we continue in this manner. So quite disappointing from that angle, and I really hope that players get to stop it, and not so good for me hearing some good quality players being banned or suspended for months, as it's happened with Ivan Toney. Not a good thing, disappointing for me.
Good afternoon, welcome to the show, football fan. Great to have you join the conversation. Oh my goodness, keep the calls coming in. 090-2223-1011 and 0817-624-8565. Well, let's talk about something else. Well, that's going to be after this score. The stone that the British rejected has become a chief cornerstone in a different land. Hello, good afternoon.
Hello.
Yes, welcome.
Mary, can you hear me?
Loud and clear.
Good afternoon to you. Good afternoon.
Santi.
And you see, good afternoon. I'm Santi Kazola. I'm calling from Ikam.
Welcome,
Mary,
Santi.
good afternoon. I even like to know.
Hello, Santi.
Afternoon. As a player, there's some players that reach me as a Nigerian, which I don't want them to play the national team anymore until they realize that there are lots of things I expecting them to do more. One is Joe Aribo. Two is the defender, Kenneth Omero and others. Now, I'm asking a question. What happened to Olisanda Mari? Does it mean that Olisanda does not deserve to play in the national team? Now, talk about integration. Integration, in my own opinion, is far, far better than Joe Aribo. Now, apart from integration, even Wisdom Fernando, who was former United player, Minnesota, is far better than Integration. There are a lot of players that when we get to Morocco, that we could not play, that our missing could not match, even if we have a good striker. So they should do a good thing about it. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for talking to us. That's a very serious suggestion. Hello, good afternoon. Yes.
Adi, is he there?
He's here. Okay, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Adi,
Good afternoon, boss.
can you reply to me? Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, okay.
Come to the point. The problem of Nigeria is not players. We have abandoned players on the ground. The problem of Nigeria, hit this hammer on the nail, is the coach. Pizarro, since he comes here, has he win any friendly match? Is it to be a disgrace today that Saudi Arabia will use us to have a win in the world? Who are looking for a good coach who will handle Nigerian players, who will have a lot of abandoned players on the ground for Nigeria? Please help us as you on the radio there.
Thank you.
That the problem of Nigeria is not players, is the coach. We should start this coach which will disgrace Nigeria.
All right. Thank you. Thank you very much. Speaking of coaches, UT, Spain's World Cup winning coach Jorge Vilda has been appointed as the new manager of Morocco's women's national team. His 42 was sacked last month as part of a fallout with Rubiales, the man whose kiss ruined basically everything for him, basically. Well, Morocco confirmed the appointment of Vilda in the short statement on Thursday. Well, we all thought that this man was never going to get a job anymore, but he's set to lead with the Moroccan women's national team. What do you make of this news in the light of the fact that this man, well, was caught in the web?
A quality coach, basically. I think his problem wasn't really about, Rubiales. It was about the politics that built up before the Women's World Cup. And he's also a quality coach as well, because you look at the fact that bulk of the established players already that were playing with the Spanish women's national team say, I'm not going to the World Cup with you unless you are changed. And they actually went into, of course, various female club sites, gathered these players in and around the Spanish, club sites, and then they took them to the World Cup and won it. So it basically shows you the quality of this man, and I'm not surprised he's going to Morocco. Morocco is just a distance away from Spain, and I'm certain with, of course, the developments that we're seeing already in Morocco, he can actually succeed. The stone, the builders rejected. The damage.
Let me add
30 seconds, Blyden, please.
Quite impressive from Morocco's point of view. Yeah. Getting a World Cup winner to be their coach, that's something. But it's a different test for the coach, Vilda, for me, because, look, Morocco isn't Spain. you're looking at the quality of Spain, and you look at the quality of Morocco, different ballgame. But I just want to see how he nets it and push this team even further. They performed quite well at the World Cup, at least to some extent. But on the other hand, if he gets to transmogrify this Morocco side, and probably they get to win a WAFCON, it would be something to change, something wonderful.
Well, that's the story. Thank you so much, Blender, for being a part of the show.
Thank you.
Thank you, UT, for being a part of the show.
Thank you very much.
Time flies when you're having so much fun, and we love it. Tomorrow, 7:30 to 8, we're here, and of course, 12:30 to 2, we'll talk a lot more about the story. Nigeria's game comes up by 5 p.m. Nigerian time. Do well to enjoy the game if you can. My name is Marizuna. I had Blighton and Kim for company, and UT David. And together we're saying ciao. Have a lovely weekend.